Hey guys, it's Sebastian from Ask Sebi, and today we are going to talk about whether Centurion lounges are overrated. So with this and with pretty much everything else in life, I think your personal experiences as well as your expectations are going to play a big role. The reason I wanted to do this video is because I think it's an interesting topic, and also because some people have accused me of being fake happy at lounges, and again, that's not really the case. As someone who grew up in a relatively average family, I think I only really traveled twice as a kid, once to Disney World and then once for a wedding in Asia, and that's pretty much it. I think there might have been a Paris trip or something else in the mix on the way to Hong Kong, but that's pretty much it. Around college, I started traveling a bit more, but again, even then, I was mostly looking at super economy stuff, cheapest deals possible to maximize the number of flights I could do, and also to maximize my savings and investments, because I didn't really value these experiences. In my opinion, it made more sense putting that money into my investments. One of the benefits and one of the things that really got me into credit card stuff is because I can still keep putting all of that money into investments, but now I can just travel as well using these points. With that kind of as a background, anything that is not sitting at the terminal waiting, and again, back in the day there weren't really as many plugs, is a good experience for me. The fact that I can shower, have food, and drink alcohol makes it all the better. On the topic of food, again, for me, I'm someone who likes free food, even if it's at a conference, even if it's kind of at one of those meetup groups after work where there's free food, I'm going to be there because I'm not going to complain about that. Again, you're going from 0 to 1. I like fine dining. I've gone to Michelin star restaurants that are $400 per person, but I'll still appreciate free food because it's free. And again, that kind of goes into expectations versus reality. I'm not going to expect, and I've never expected, that every single meal that I'll ever have in the rest of my life is going to be a high-end, crazy meal. Jumping back to the Centurion Lounge, I think it is going to be okay food or good food, but it's not really great. Especially for SFO, I feel like their food is relatively mediocre. If you go to Vegas or if you look at the updated menu for Hong Kong, those are substantially better. So to me, those are 4s and 5s. Centurion Lounge SFO is probably 3 or 4. The other thing too is that the food there is typically better than most of the other options in the airports, or again, about the same depending on what you want to pay. I've gone to airports where there weren't any lounges, where I ended up paying $30 for a meal, and that's pretty much it. So $30 for a mediocre meal versus paying $0 for a mediocre meal. Maybe you're someone who has ribeye every night and this doesn't apply, but for me, and I feel like for a lot of normal people, it's still better keeping that extra $30 in your pockets. The other thing is alcohol, and I feel like this is the big equalizer for a lot of people, just because alcohol at one place and another place is going to be relatively the same. So yes, you can use different bases, you can use red label or black label to make it instead, and that's going to be a big difference, but beyond that, if you are making a cocktail, you're probably not going to notice the difference. I would say most beers are probably in the $7 range, and then most cocktails are probably in the $12 to $15 range, in SFO at least, and a lot of other airports. You could probably conservatively say $10. That's probably what you would pay if you went out to a bar anyways. $10 if you have 3 or 4 drinks, that's easily $30 or $40 in value. Even if you went to something else in the airport, you're still going to have to pay that amount. So the fact that you can get $30, $40 in value, if you have 2 people, that's even more value, then it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to drink anyways, why not have it for free? For this one, I would make the argument that the cocktails at the Centurion lounges are lots better than the ones at the other restaurants outside. Probably 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5 versus the 3 out of 5 in the other restaurants. I think one of the big keys is coming into it with realistic expectations. This isn't a first class lounge, it's not a super executive lounge, it's a lounge for people who are willing to pay $550 and technically even less due to the credits that we've talked about pretty much every single time. If you want that fine dining experience, you can fly Polaris internationally and go to the Polaris Lounge. There's a lot of other first-class lounges that might fit your bill a lot better. Kind of a quick side story, but I'm also not immune to the expectation versus reality bias, just because I've done that before as well, but I guess I've never really done it of airports. So when we went to Bora Bora, I ended up booking the basic room for $1,000 using a certificate and also using points for another night. So this was the basic one that did not even have the overwater bungalow, didn't have a pool, didn't have anything else. But looking at the list of all of the rooms, I saw this super big 4-person suite that had a butler. And in the back of my head, since I had diamond status, I was like, oh, we might get upgraded to that. Instead, we got upgraded to, I think, the 3rd our second best room there, which was still a $2,500 room, which was over water, which had some of the best reefs, had some of the pools, and had a bunch of different things. But when I found out I got that one and not the super big castle suite thing, I wasn't happy because, again, I went into it with the wrong expectations that I was going to get this and I got this. But in reality, I booked this. So I should still be happy with this, even though I didn't get that, if that makes sense.
Oh, do you want me coming in? Okay, let me...
These are the presidential villas, so 2 stories. I think it fits up to 6 people. It also comes with a personal butler, which is pretty interesting, but they're huge. So I think it's pretty much like the size of one of our rooms times 2 plus a huge viewing area, Doc. Mandy's...
Stop looking at me.
Again, maybe I'm wrong to you or maybe you disagree, that's fine, but I feel like expectations play a huge role. One of the other big arguments that people make about Centurion lounges is why is it called Centurion lounges if it's not only for Black Card members? And I mean, that's marketing on Amex's end. I wouldn't even care if they called it Platinum Lounge because it does the same thing. It doesn't add any more value saying that I'm going to the Centurion Lounge versus the Platinum Lounge. I do, however, think that Centurion members should have a separate area compared to normal Platinum members. So again, people might disagree with that as well. I think Hong Kong has a pretty good setup for this. I don't have a Centurion card, I only have a Platinum card, but they really respect the Centurion members a lot more there. So they have a private chef area where they make you meals, while the Platinum members have the buffet style. So I'm fine with the buffet style, I'm happy with that. But I feel like, again, Centurion members are probably paying a lot more, probably spending a lot more as well. I do kind of see the argument for why it's not a thing in the US though, given that there are so many better other options that are similarly priced and, again, relatively affordable if you have a Centurion card. If you want to fly semi-private, it's probably about $22 or $125 per person per way, so pretty reasonable if you are someone paying that big annual fee anyways, and if you're traveling a lot. If you're flying transcontinental flights, you're probably flying business class. If you're flying internationally, same thing. And again, you have access to different lounges, like the Polaris Lounge. You don't really have to hang out with all of the normal people. Given that Centurion cards require you to spend about $300,000 to $500,000 a year on that card, I don't really think most of them are slumming it up in economy with us. At the end of the day, the point of this channel is to help normal people and professionals travel and kind of experience things they otherwise wouldn't pay for. If you're someone already paying for those first class flights, my content is probably not going to be as helpful. So are Centurion lounges overrated? If you are a Black Card member, if you have a Centurion card, yeah, probably I wouldn't bother. I'd go to the Polaris Lounge and skip this normal area. If you are a normal Platinum card holder though, I think it really depends. Alcohol plays a pretty big role in your cost analysis just because that's the big equalizer. For food, it can be hit or miss depending on your expectations and what you come in with. I think SFO can really improve and should really improve on the food just because it's the same thing pretty much every time, or there's 2 main items, 2 main proteins, but it's, I don't know, maybe I've gone too many times that it feels too familiar. With Vegas, for example, their menu changes up so often that I'm a really big fan of it. Maybe the Vegas team has more of an ability to experiment with different things, but I feel like most of the times that I go, there's always one new dish that they're testing. Mandy's told me that Houston probably has the best food since she visits home pretty often. I actually like the Hong Kong one, even though Mandy doesn't like the food. And again, maybe it's just a difference in food, and also they have free ice cream. I like open lounges, I like ice cream, I like free food, so yeah. Oh, they have honey now. That's really cool.
Beef is good.
The beef is like legitimate, like it's very solid. If you want to learn more about the Platinum card and you want to support our channel, pretty easy way to do that would be to use links on our sites or links in the description box down below. Hopefully that was helpful, and let me know if you guys have any questions. My question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that it's overrated or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, it really helps us out. And if you know anyone else who'd benefit from what we just talked about, feel free to share this video with them because it's probably going to help them out. But otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.